Hey, Patrick Cameron, Extraordinary Integral Coach. How are you today? How are you managing this new world we find ourselves living in? I mean, our new normal with quarantine and self-isolation, social distancing is forcing all of us to do things in a new way. I mean, the way we work, or perhaps not work, the way we interact, the way we gather together, or should I say, not gather together. If you find yourself working from home, how are you structuring your day? What this new challenge has in common for all of us is our relationship to time. We are all just one choice away in each moment of deciding how we will use this precious, irreplaceable commodity, time. A question that I know can lead us into a different perspective, a different awareness is, how are you managing your relationship with time? And here's the main question along with that. Are you spending time or investing time? Are you spending your time power watching Netflix or some other streaming video vehicle? Spending too much time on social media, reading too many posts that have nothing to do with improving your life or helping another person or group achieve something helpful? A really good example of spending time versus investing time is by replacing the word time with the word money. When we spend $100, it has a different energy and result than investing $100. When we spend $100, it's typically gone. When we invest $100, we do so with the intention of a return on investment. Great investments can offer great returns. And a return is typically growth or expansion, something that adds greater value. Let me give you an example. My son annually creates a book list and then invests his time, his awareness, and attention to creating the space, the conditions, the discipline, and the devotion to read the books on his list. So guess how many books he read in 2019? He read 112 books. Now he is currently invested in his book reading list for 2020. So it is a practice, it is an investment in time that he continues to utilize and develop and nurture. And now this is a young man that's got a full life. He's got a full-time job, he's physically active, he's got a wide circle of friends and acquaintances, he has a lovely girlfriend, he loves learning, he loves reading, creating. He has also prioritized into his everyday schedule an investment of time and energy into improving his knowledge base, expanding his capacity to learn and to further his developmental capacities by exposing himself to the ideas of others and fulfilling a commitment he made to himself, which I might add is one of the most powerful practices we can use to develop trust. Trust in who? Trust in ourselves. When we keep our agreements with ourselves, we grow our capacity to trust ourselves. And one of the most impactful teachers in my life used to tell me, when I'd break a commitment, I would be frustrated. When I failed to follow through on an expressed intention, to not attempt to re-engage until I was fully committed and ready to honor the agreement I had made with myself. Now, she understood half measures would not get me to my goal, and repeated failure would undermine my own sense of value and integrity. In other words, if I had not fulfilled what I intended to fulfill, I would continue to feel like I couldn't do it. I wasn't up to it. I couldn't trust myself. Our son's commitment to his annual reading list is an example of investing time. His return on investment is expanding his knowledge base, learning something new, finding a new way to view and perceive his life and the world around him, and build greater trust by holding himself accountable. He is practicing self-regulation. He does that by saying no to something to better invest in something with a number of meaningful returns. Another example of investing time rather than spending time involves my wife Laura and I. We recently invested in a 4.5-month road trip to Mexico. Being confronted with a language barrier is a great way to learn something new. So we struck an agreement to invest a portion of our daily routine into learning to write and speak Spanish. Our daily practice has increased our Spanish vocabulary with hundreds of new words. Now and again we miss a day. And when this happens, we simply return as soon as possible to our agreed commitment. Learning a language, in other words, we don't let missing a day of study be a reason to stop altogether. We enjoy the new learning because we realize how fulfilling it is to be able to speak in the language of the country where we were guests for several months, and how conversing in a native language automatically creates greater connection and relationship with other people. It increases the odds of making and retaining new friends, and it's also super respectful. Here's another example, written by a well-known author. Imagine there's a bank that credits your account each morning with $86,400. It carries over no balance from day to day. Every evening deletes whatever part of the balance you fail to use during the day. So what do? Well, you draw out every cent, of course. Each of us has such a bank. Its name is time. Every morning, it credits you and I with 86,400 seconds. And every night, it writes off as loss whatever of this you or I have failed to invest to good purpose. It carries over no balance. It allows no overdraft. Each day opens a new account for you and I. Each night it burns the remains of the day. If you fail to use the day's deposits, the loss is yours and mine. There's no going back. There's no drawing against the tomorrow. You must live in the present of today's deposits. Invest it so as to get from it the utmost in health, happiness, and success. The clock is running. Make the most of today. Think of the commodity of time in these ways. To realize the value of 1 year, ask a student who has failed his final exam. To realize the value of 1 month, ask a parent of a premature baby. To realize the value of 1 week, ask the editor of a weekly newspaper. To realize the value of 1 day, ask a daily wage laborer who has a large family to feed. To realize the value of 1 hour, ask lovers who are waiting to meet. To realize the value of 1 minute, ask a person who has missed the train, the bus, or an airplane. To realize the value of 1 second, ask a person who has survived an accident. To realize the value of 1 millisecond, ask the person who has won a silver medal at the Olympics. Treasure every moment that you have, and treasure it more because you shared it with someone special. Special enough to spend your time with. And remember, time waits for no one. Isn't that beautiful? That was written by that world-famous author, unknown. Now, I share these stories with you to illustrate the difference between investing our time or spending our time, and examples of what the return on investment time can be. And the great thing is, you get to choose. You are one choice away. So how are you utilizing this period of time we're in? How are you managing your 86,400 seconds per day? Are you spending or investing? You get to decide. Do you realize you're one choice away from a life you cannot imagine? Choices. Let's all get better at making helpful and healthful choices.